Imagine discovering that half of your business's external communication contained factual errors, or that your team's AI generated content is being published with minimal human oversight. Does it sound a bit concerning to you? I can say from someone who has a background in public relations and strategic communication, it sounds terrifying to me. And this is exactly what my research has uncovered about how organizations are using AI. So, in this presentation, I'm going to share with you some of the key insights that I've gained and some things that you really need to think about as a business or organization to protect your reputation when you are using AI, particularly generative AI, to create content for your organization. So, I'm going to share with you just my research journey over the last 11 months. So, since January, since I got back from leave, I've been on an AI adventure and it's been a really interesting experience. So, I've interviewed 41 people around the world, and these have included scholars who are leading scholars in not only strategic communication, but also in AI related fields and in deepfake technology and those sorts of areas. I've interviewed practitioners, and so these are not only sort of marketers and strategic comms and PR people, advertisers, etc. These are like leading people in the field. So I've interviewed the CEO of the Public Relations Society of Australia, the Public Relations Society of America, the Chief Content Officer for the Marketing AI Institute. And they're just to name a few, but a lot of people in that sort of field who are leading in their field. And I've also interviewed the founders and co-founders of AI tools themselves, because what I've found with a lot of researchers coming out and a lot of what people are saying about AI, they're not actually talking to the people making the tools just to see how they think they should be used and also what sort of deficiencies they may even have in that technology. So with that information, then I gathered all the data, analyzed it all, and then created a survey from that. And so the survey was of 400 people, and they were based in the UK, Australia, and the USA, asking them about their attitudes and practices in relation to their AI use. And so across the whole sample, there were 8 countries represented. So I tried to get as much sort of perception and feedback from a wide range of countries, just so I had a more global perspective. Now, what I discovered in that journey was both absolutely fascinating, but also very, very alarming, which is what I'm going to share with you. 3 key areas that I think you really need to take notice of. Now, the first finding was that 50% of professionals view fact-checking of AI content only moderately important or less. So think about that for just a second and think about what that may do to your business's reputation. Now, we live in an era where misinformation can destroy a brand within a matter of hours. Yet, half of us are placing blind faith in the AI systems and what they're generating. And look, I'm not saying do not use AI. I love AI. I use it every single day. However, and while it's so powerful and helpful, it needs to be really used critically, because we know it hallucinates, and it doesn't matter how amazing your prompt is, it can still come back with information that is inaccurate. And what makes it hard is that it sounds really convincing, but it's false information. And so just because something is written really well does not mean that it is accurate. So beware of the articulate idiot. Now, this is advice for life, but it's also advice for when using AI. And as I said, when AI generates things, and sometimes it's very cheesy if you're not prompting it well, but sometimes it comes back and it seems really articulate. However, it's absolutely incorrect. And to be honest, I've seen this. I've seen when people have been trying to answer a question using AI and it reads really well, but it's not correct. So this is a real issue that's happening. And a lot of it is because people are trying to cut corners and save time with their tasks to get information out and to tick things off their list without actually checking what they're actually putting out there. And this is happening more and more. So this is in two examples. So example A and example B, and it's sort of cut off a little bit here. But the first example happened 2 weeks ago with LJ Hooker. And so they were found to be using AI to generate property listing descriptions for rental properties. And these descriptions were saying that properties were living in areas that had great schools when there were no schools in the area. So they were completely mucking it up, not checking it, putting out this, inaccurate information. Next, there was another case last month down in Melbourne where a lawyer was he was referred to a complaints body because he was using AI-generated content which made up case citations in the family court. So again, and this has happened in the US as well. So there was, quite a few publicized cases around this, but it's happening here too. And now anecdotally, I've heard of this was in a software company where the marketing team was a bit younger, and not that that's the reason, but they clearly really didn't understand. I've found that it takes a while once you even get out of uni and when you're actually working in the field to really hone your craft. Like, your degree is great, but it's really the beginning. And so they were using AI to just fly through their work, and they seemed really great, really happy about it. However, what was happening is that they didn't really understand the features of the software tool that they were marketing. And they were using AI to generate social media content about that tool and putting it out, and it was incorrect. It was saying it had features it did not have. So again, think about the reputation of an organization or business when that sort of stuff is happening. And it's really coming down to trying to cut corners and fly through things without actually doing those checks and that fact checking. But it gets more concerning. This is just one finding. So the other finding, which was really scary, was that about 51, so only just over half of the sample, of my research sample, said that they moderately to extensively edited generative AI generated content. So it means that just under half are just not really editing anything and just sending it out as is. Now, without that human oversight, it's actually like sending out an intern's work without checking it, except that this intern, it doesn't have human judgment, and it cannot actually tell the difference between fact and fiction. And so that's really concerning as well. So not fact checking, and then not even editing. And that raises a lot of concerns around even making sure that it aligns to brand voice and things like that. And really, you can't tell me that a prompt is that good that it just brings things out perfectly every time, particularly when you're quite new to using AI technology. Other things that came out was quite interesting, that also nearly half, so you can see here, it's almost nearly half of the survey at each instance, found that they believe that actually evaluating AI's impact on productivity was really, really important. And as I said before, it was clear when you look at that really they're valuing metrics like speed and time saved, and also valuing money saved. Now, look, when you've got a business, of course you want to save time and money, of course. However, when using AI, there are other important metrics that need to be considered. So accuracy, as we've first spoken about, is really, really important. Then also benchmarking. So what are the results before you started using it, after it? It might be saving you time and saving you money, but is it actually increasing your reach? Is it actually increasing engagement? Like, is it increasing conversion rates? Is it actually having a positive impact on your bottom line from using AI? The other thing is audience response. So how is your audience, your target audience, actually responding to the content you're creating using AI? Are they happy about it? Are they engaging with it the same way? That needs to be taken into account. as is your customer's experience. You need to check in with them to see how they feel about it. And it's going to depend on different age demographics and backgrounds, of course. However, one instance I can think of is there was a business who really catered to older demographics and wanted to use a chatbot, and was only going to use that as their primary communication method or communication channel that people could actually interact with their business. And it failed, dismally, because their target audience, they didn't check in with them. They didn't check in with their customers to say, is that something that you would want to use? Or even educating them on how to use it. So it's really important to take these things into account as well when you are using AI. Another key theme in there is, so it's not all doom and gloom. There is a solution, and it came through really strongly in both my interviews and survey, is that training and ongoing training and professional development is a solution, is a way to sort of navigate this minefield of what AI is presenting to us. So the only thing is, when I go out and do a lot of talks on this topic, and when I ask in the room who's delivered or organized official, formal AI training for your teams, it's very few. And this isn't just the case of the people that I talk to. This is an ongoing issue in Australia and probably around the world as well. The knowledge and training gap within organizations and businesses relating to AI is really extreme. Now, this is a study that was conducted earlier this year by V2 Digital. It's they had a sample size of, I think, about 400 executives. And you can see that while 77% of them said that AI is really critical to their business, when they were asked to actually rate their skill levels out of 10, they gave themselves a 4.5. Now, in university, that would be a fail. That would be a fail. And when they were asked to rate the quality of the AI training delivered in their organizations, they only gave 3.17 out of 10. Now, that was 1 being non-existent and 10 being extremely advanced. So again, there's just not enough training going on. And also from other research that I've read and people that I've spoken to, one of the key barriers for using AI is this training, but no one's delivering it. So it's sort of, people are sort of at this standstill of being able to make the most of it and use it in a responsible way, but not knowing how to do that. So I really implore you to consider how much your organization and business's reputation is really worth to you, because training is really the key way to help that. Also, having an AI policy and processes around the use of AI within your organization is super important, because when I asked how much do you know about how your team is actually using AI, some people aren't even really aware of what's going on. And so actually making it a priority is really, really important going forward. It's moving so quickly, and it's important to be proactive and to have these guardrails in place. And yes, the technology is moving, but you can alter processes once they exist. It's very hard to start creating stuff on the fly. So it's better to actually have it and begin that process. I've worked for a lot of organizations in the delivery of and delivery for AI training, and there's a whole range of training that I can deliver. And this has been using a method that I have been trained in called the AI persona method, but it's also starting at basic AI use, like prompt writing and responsible use of AI. But all of the training that I deliver has this sort of ethical component. And the difference in the training that I deliver is that it's research informed. I've spoken to all of those people, and I've really looked through all the academic research and crunched all the data and wrote up my book this year, AI for Strategic Communication, to bring together not only just the theory, but I've developed frameworks and processes and practical tools that can actually help people use AI in a really responsible but effective way. An example was recently, a couple of weeks ago, I had a session with the Water Industry Operators of Australia and Association of Australia excuse me, and they have a very small team, but they deliver so many conferences around Australia every year. So they've nearly got one a month, I would say, that they're actually sometimes even more. And so I use AI to develop I think we used a created a marketing coordinator that helped them then plan out their events for the following year and come up with content and things like that. But again, I showed them how to use it in a way that would be customized to their business and their organization and help their members as well, and do it in a way that was a responsible way to actually use it, that was accurate, and show them how to follow those steps that I've developed through my research. And overall, yes, we're using the metric of time saved and money saved. However, we also looked at things like accuracy as well. And once they're implemented, then those other things can actually happen, where the other metrics are looking at customer experience, etc. Similarly, I worked with Yamundi Markets, and it was a similar case. We're a very small team, and we've used AI to really help them to almost create an AI staff member to help with different sort of marketing things for them. Now, my background is in marketing, PR, strategic communication, and that's why I tend to stick to that area, because that's my area of expertise. So please also be aware of any people out there delivering training in areas that really are not their field, because AI is such a massive field. There's so many different aspects to AI, and so we really want someone who's a subject matter expert in their area. And that's one other thing that came out with my research, was just this need to be a subject matter expert when you're using AI to generate content or whatever it may be. And you can see with the example of the software company that I gave previously that if you don't understand what you're selling or what you're marketing, and then you're just generating stuff with AI, then you can't check it. You can't fact check it, because you don't know if it's correct or not. So that's what's super important, is to have someone there who actually understands what the end product should actually look like. These are just some of the training that I offer. So as I said, I deliver everything from really basic introduction to AI right through to one-on-one coaching. And I can also do an AI audit of your organization in terms of your marketing communication tasks. And then we can map those out and come up with use cases where AI can help you to speed up those processes, but in a responsible way, and then train you and your team into how to actually implement those use cases. So I'll share my website address for my training underneath this video, so you can have a look for yourself. And I do have an offer. I'm so passionate about making sure that organizations are using AI really responsibly. So if your organization wants to lock in training with me for next year, before the 1st of December, I'll also throw in an action plan. So after the training, you'll have step by step how to actually implement that in your organization. And then we'll do 2 follow-up sessions as well after the training session, so that we can check in and just keep continuously improving on what you're doing. And feel free to reach out via email or LinkedIn, of course, and you can always book a 30-minute completely complimentary session with me, where we can talk about your organization's needs and what you're thinking and where you'd like to be in terms of AI. And there's absolutely there's no issue with that at all. We can just have a chat and see what you would like to do. And I can point you to certain tools and resources as well, because through my research, there's a whole section in my new book about resources. And I sort of picked the brains of all those amazing people that I interview to bring together a really excellent list of things that can help you that are absolutely free. So thank you. And so I'll come back now to see if there are any questions. So Lisa said, wow, that's crazy about the editorial oversight, but not surprising at all based on what I've seen and heard. Absolutely. No, I know. I was actually quite surprised, but yeah, I keep hearing more stories around how people are using it. And just the fact that they're in organizations, there's no processes or guardrails in place, and that's a real worry. And when you actually ask people about how they think AI is how it actually works. They really don't know. So I think that's what it is. It's real a lack of just sort of understanding, and that's why training is really, really important. But I'll leave it there. Thank you to those of you who watched and listened. And yeah, if you have any questions about my presentation, please reach out and let me know. Thank you.